Good evening, live weather blog meteorologist Bob Acampria with the latest update on Invest 91L, ready to become our next tropical depression in the Atlantic here. Looking at the visible satellite before the sun went down here this evening out there, you could see nice banding feature starting to develop here, and you can see this blow up of convection just as these last few visible shots here, and this is rapidly becoming a tropical depression. I wouldn't be surprised to see them name this a depression at least before midnight tonight. You would think that they will start initiating advisories on this system. And here's the color loop here, and you could see there's that blow up of convection right near the apparent center. It looks like the center's right in here. And let me put the longitude, latitude on here, and you can see where we're at here. So there we are. You can see once that thing started getting a little farther from off the ITCZ and started getting up to 10 north and higher, you can see that spin really starting to develop here, and that's what these systems need. See some banding developing here, out this way, nice banding. So definitely coming together here. And here's our water vapor imagery. We'll see the wider shot, just showing you what's coming up down the road for this system. Right now it's in a nice big moist environment here, so it's protected by any dry air. A little bit of drier air to its west here. We'll see how that'll interfere with this system, but pretty big envelope of moist air, so that should protect it pretty well from the drier air right now. But this is where it might get tricky, and we may see this system start to get sheared off as it approaches the northern Leeward Islands by Thursday, Friday time frame. We've had this tut feature right in this area here, pretty permanent right now. And this is creating a lot of wind shear right in this section here. I'll show you that in a minute on the wind shear maps. So here we are, wind shear maps, and there's that tut feature right in here, and you can see the stronger wind shear right in here. Low wind shear as it moves along, next all the way up until it gets to the northern islands. It looks like this could be in good position to slowly develop. The only, like I said, the only inhibiting thing would be a little bit of drier air in here. Let me just close in on the system real quick here. I'll show you. And here we are closing in on the system. You could see nice little upper high developing over it currently, and you can see pretty light wind shear for the next couple days. So this thing will slowly develop. I would expect before it gets to the islands, we could see a Category 1 hurricane. Really will depend on that dry air, but shear looks pretty good until it gets to the islands. So I could see this approaching hurricane strength before the islands. No major hurricane before the islands with that dry air and stuff, but definitely could see a Category 1 hurricane before the islands. So what about after that? Well, that's where that shear might come into play and could rip up this system. I'll show you that in a second. So models, what are they doing? Well, here's the 18Z models. This was, let me get this back up here. These are the latest model runs from Clark Evans, Florida State. And you can see and pretty good agreement here. From this to the islands, agreement's pretty good of taking this system to the north of the islands by about Thursday. And they're in pretty good agreement, especially if the system gets ramping up. I could definitely see it going north of the islands. Again, if it stays weak, could skirt a little south here. So we'll have to watch that. Northern Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, still in play with this system. But right now it's looking like it could go north of them. And now intensity. Now this is where we're showing you that shear. The intensity models are really showing that shear get going once it gets towards the islands. You can see it bringing it up close to a Category 1 as it approaches the islands. And then right when it gets towards the northern Leeward Islands, boom, here comes the shear. And you can see the intensity models really dropping off on the intensity there. And that's that shear feature. And that feature's been there this whole Atlantic season. So I don't see it really going away anytime soon. So that could be good news down the road for if this does threaten the United States. But again, long way off. And these models are going to change a little bit here. But definitely that shear feature has been pretty permanent. Okay, some of the 12Z global model runs, I'll go through these quickly. Canadian model, again, wait till this loops up here again, taking it north of the islands, and here we go by about Thursday, Friday, and then this way. Again, we'll have to see if high pressure wants to build here. Again, this is a long way off, so once this gets towards getting close to the Bahamas, it's gonna go either two ways. Keep going with that weakness, or the weakness is going to get closed off up here, and this could bend back towards Florida. So that's a long way off. We're not too concerned about that right now. We're going to see what this does once it gets to the islands, and from there. Let's forecast the next 4 to 5 days first. GFDL, again, bringing it to a hurricane, but then you see as it gets towards the islands, that shear takes over and it really knocks the intensity down. So gets it up to a Category 1 hurricane, then weakens it a bit. HWRF, pretty much the same thing. Brings it up to close to a hurricane and then starts weakening it as it gets north of the islands. Pretty much the same path here. Then we have, now here's the Euro model. Now look at this. I mean, this is when you think about it. And of course, the models are going to be flip-flopping a lot here. This thing really isn't totally developed yet, so don't really pin yourself on one model yet. But here's a possibility here. How about if this thing stays pretty weak? Well, the Euro model takes this straight west, pretty much dissipates it, and then gets it back going into the Gulf of Mexico a little bit. Yeah, long way off. This is a 7 to 10 day model run here, but you can see if it does stay weak, it will build west instead of going north. Seeing the trends though with this system, I don't think it's going to be that weak in the next 2 to 3 days. The only thing I see is that dry air possibly interfering with, but God, shear looks good the next couple days, so why would it not really develop that? That's why I don't know about the Euro model right now. But if it does stay weak, NOGAP's model doesn't even develop this system right now, but I think you really have to discount that one right now. What else do we have here? Now the GFS, this is valid for Thursday. This is Thursday, and you can see it right here just north of the islands. So pretty much most of the models are taking this just north of the islands by Thursday, Friday. The only model now taking it west is the Euro that hardly develops it. So, and that would make sense. So we'll have to see there. But north of the islands, and then you see this is out. This is going to be valid for next Sunday. This is a week out. And you can see it here, again, east of the Bahamas. Then what happens is, if you look up this way, high pressure is coming. It's going to close off this, doesn't catch the weakness. And what actually happens is, the GFS model bends this back towards Florida. And that's a possibility down the road. Again, this is 7 to 10 days out. We'll see what happens with this system. But the threat is there. The threat is there for the northern Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and then Bahamas and East Coast Florida, East Coast U.S. Gulf of Mexico, it'll depend. That's down the road. Will it really catch it and move it west? We'll have to see. But everybody's pretty much in play this far out. What I really expect it to do next couple days is slowly strengthen. Definitely could see a Category 1 hurricane before it reaches the islands if that dry air doesn't affect it much. And then I definitely could see weakening as it gets north of the islands here. With that TUT feature pretty permanent right now, the only thing that would make this system stay strong is if that TUT feature could move far enough west, and then a nice ridge of high pressure could build in this area here and not affect this system. Haven't really seen that much most of this tropical Atlantic season, so right now, that's my thinking. Close to a Category 1 hurricane before it gets to the islands. Moves just north of the islands. That's why still a close call for the northeastern Leeward Islands and Virgin Islands and possibly Puerto Rico. And then maybe at that time, hopefully, it'll start weakening with that TUT feature out there. So that's the analysis for tonight. I will have another update tomorrow morning. I expect by tomorrow morning we'll be talking about tropical depression. What are we up to? Number 4, I believe. It's either number 3 or 4. And maybe even Tropical Storm Colin. We'll have to see. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.